Good morning. Welcome to regular session Monday, May 5th. We have a full quorum present. Here you certify the meeting was properly posted. Please rise for prayer and pledges. James Ray.
Help guard these gentlemen in the direction that you would have them go. Father, that they all be in one accord. Father, we thank you for the blessings that you've given us in Walker County. And we ask, Lord, that you watch over us and keep us. Father, the verse of the day that I want to share is found in 1 John chapter 4 and verse 4. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Thank you for the victory that Jesus exhibited, and thank you for having a relationship with him. Father, we love you and thank you, and lead us and guide us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Honor the flag, pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, God, one indivisible.
We didn't get any citizens input on agenda items. Consent agenda contains 13 items.
I don't need to pull anything.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All in favor, raise their hand. Motion carries. 14, discuss and take action on purchase of Motorola mobile radios, Senate Bill 22 funds. Chief Blackguy. Morning.
Won't take too much. I'm asking you to send a bill 22 money. It's probably gonna be a deficit about 10,000. I'll take out of my money. It's your money to pay for the deficit out of there or whatever it may be. Don't hold it to the exact number, 10,000, but I will cover the back end. And asking for the court approval to use that money.
Sound good, chief.
Are these the ones that we talked with the constables, but they use the same ones or anybody else? Do you know?
The radio,
Yeah.
I use the same one.
These are radios.
No,
body
these are not
cams.
your body cams.
Is this a different thing?
Yeah.
They're handheld radios. Yes, sir.
That's cool. All right.
Upgraded handheld.
I knew we had a conversation. I forgot what they were
Yeah.
about. So.
These will finish out my uniform services.
Okay.
Everyone that's in a uniform will have a newer radio. Comes with map tracking where you can find other people and stuff.
Cool.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you, chief.
Motion carries. 15, discuss and take action on DR 4781 project 753647 OEM funds to be put in OEM project funds.
So we got the award letter that we have that money coming, and when the money gets here, we'd like so we can buy additional items that we need during the year.
How much you're getting back, Butch?
12,000 something.
About 12, 13,000.
Move. That's your motion, Jeff?
That's my motion.
Second.
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion
Thank you.
carries. 16, discuss and take action on transportation and housing and urban development, economic development initiative grant proposal. Ms. Wheeler.
Morning.
Morning.
How are y'all?
Good.
We have been looking at a grant proposal to go up. It's for THUD, which is Transportation and Housing Urban Development. It's an EDI grant, which is Economic Development Initiatives Grant. It's a 0% match for the county. So that's a good thing if we decide to go up for it. And so basically what we are hoping for is that you all will approve that we can submit our application for the grant. It's going to go to Congressman Luttrell's office. And I've been talking with his aide. There are 15 allocated spots for his office to move forward. And so far they have 24 applications. So we would be number 25 to be submitted. And it's for a Walker County emergency animal shelter and multi-use facility that will be built in precinct 4, right behind the way station where the arena is being built. So currently we don't have anything like that. I'm sure all of you know, we use multiple different facilities in emergency for animals. So we are hoping that this would be a permanent solution for us in the, in disaster involvement, but also, we are a receiving county. So even if Walker County isn't involved, it'd still be a place that people come and use as an animal shelter, not just for small animals, but livestock. So part of the grant proposal would be the livestock aspect of it, to buy the panels and things that we would need for that too.
Would this be something that, and this may be a Brandon question, that could tie to the 4-H stuff and they use it also?
Absolutely. It's got a agri-life component in it, a classroom that will basically double as the animal shelter. For teaching, it's got a teaching component in it. Community center, small on that side of it, but if have an event down there, we can have it in that facility.
Okay.
So
What's the deadline on this thing?
So our absolute deadline to turn in for Latrell to turn in applications is May 23rd. So we're gonna get with her today after Commissioner's Court to let her know, of course, yes or no, if we're moving forward. And then I have the application prepared. It's here for you. I attached it. So I already went through that last week and tried to get that perfected to where if we decide to move forward, we're ready to go. We're just waiting on a couple of community support letters that we have to submit with that. I have AgriLife's, I have the City of New Waverly, and we have New Waverly ISD. I'm just waiting on the 2 feed stores in New Waverly, which I'll follow up with them today. But I wanted to be prepared and ahead of it in case we decide to get it turned in. We could do that sooner rather than later.
So if it's available in Detrell's office, there might be assumption that it's also available out of Sessions' office.
correct.
So is that something in the next 12 days or however long that is, that we could find out what,
Submit both.
submit both?
We can, sure.
So you'd have to declare a location for Sessions north of 19.
All right, so holler at me after this if you would, please, and Christie or whoever, let's talk about whatever, same thing, we take it. We find a spot in both places that we don't get one, maybe the other shows up or whatever. There's just other ideas too. So thank you for that.
Sounds good.
I know Christy and Ryan are here. Yeah, do y'all want to speak to what we're doing any?
If there's any questions, we will sure answer anything. I know that the animal shelter side of it, through the years, we've used many different facilities, and to have here's where we're gonna put these things all in one place.
And I'm under the impression that AgriLife is over the animal sheltering now in emergencies, correct? Wasn't there a shift somewhere there?
They're the lead agencies for TDM. They have moved, them as lead agency instead of Texas Animal Health. So they're the lead agency for the state.
Sound like a motion from somebody.
Motion to approve.
I'll say that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Number 17, discuss and take action on award of solicitation C2360-25-019, mowing right of ways, Walker County Precinct 2.
So you got one, huh, Mr. Sure?
We got one bid.
Well, one's better than none.
That is true. That is true.
Why you think we only got one bid? I mean, we went out for extra time and everything else.
We did, and we rebeat the bushes and contacted other people as well, and we only got one submission.
Good.
Not quite sure why.
Is this changing your scope of work, Ronnie, I guess, or?
Not really. I mean, there's no weeding attached, there's no, and I'm on, if I was in the other world and not sitting up in the county, that price is not that bad.
Oh, no, I'm
You
not
know,
saying that. No, I was curious if.
I just curious why we didn't get any more at one
Yeah,
bid.
well, I figured you'd added weeding.
No, no, you add that, you won't get nobody. Well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
I'll say,
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 18, discuss and take action on the issuance of RFQ for geotechnical engineering services for future projects in Walker County.
So it was requested that we go out for a solicitation for geotech engineering services. Blau and GLS, who we have contracts with, do not have a geotech engineer in-house. So they would have to go out and solicit these services as well. So, we just kind of sort of want to cut the middleman out and go out for a solicitation. There are some future projects in paving in Walker County that we feel that this would be beneficial to have them on board.
So basically, you're asking them to go out.
For solicitation.
Okay,
Yes, sir. I'll come back with an award.
that sounds
Move for
good.
approval.
Second,
Moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 19, discuss and take action on the installation and payment of fire alarms for senior center in Walker County.
Okay, so I provided to you guys, two bids that we received, from, Resource. I don't know if I can't see them.
Scroll down.
Oh, here you go. So the first bid is a, security system that notifies, it has, smoke detectors, sirens and alarms. It does not require permitting and it does not require, CAD drawings of the buildings, to design a fire alarm system. It serves the same purpose. It will have to be monitored though, once it's inspected. And it's $3,700,
who monitors it? That's true.
security.
And that's got a monthly bill with associated with it?
It does, it's $28 a month, or if we pay annually, we get a 10% discount.
Okay,
And the next bid is a full-fledged fire alarm, smoke detector system that, and this amount of 12,000, it does not include monitoring, nor does it include the CAD drawings of the buildings that would be required to install that system. So you're looking at just $12,400, and it will do the exact same thing that your security system will do.
Mhm.
Just no permitting. I mean, this has to be permitted. So I'm bringing it to you guys for y'all to make a decision on which one you would like. I've talked with Larry, I've talked with, Miss Law there at the, she said she was good with the, security system as well.
Okay.
So, but it's ultimately y'all's decision.
So the $3,800 one says it doesn't include the floor plan. Blah, blah, blah. Do we have like, what do they need for that? Is there another cost with that? It goes on top of that?
Yes, so, the resources, security said that they would have to go out and get somebody to do the floor plans, for that building, to get the square footage, to know exactly how many, and where the location of all of your notifications need to be
Okay.
for a fire alarm system.
Did they give us an idea of the price of that? I mean, it's $500.
It's around $5,000 to $6,000. So add that to your 12,000.
so that one, you probably, by the time they get through, you'd be close to 20.
I'm talking about the cheap one, the $3,700 one.
You don't need anything to it.
You don't need anything for that one.
Okay.
Stacy, you're okay with either or where you at on this?
I think the lesser one will cover what we need. My only question I would have is it only for us, or are y'all looking, at one time y'all are considering special prosecution, housing, and the veterans office? So that's not really my vote, but I would think that if we have a fire, you would want the rest of your building to be notified as well.
Yes.
This was just for those seniors.
John?
I heard that.
Must be designed by R&E. State of Texas. Not by the client directly.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't either.
Sir,
Fire alarm enunciation systems are covered. They're supposed to be found by RME.
fire alarm.
Yes.
This is basically a security system with smoke detection. Is what we're.
It's hooked up to a monitor.
Wireless enunciation.
Okay.
What was Larry's take on this?
I don't know if that's what I was thinking.
Larry, is he here?
He's not.
No, he's not here.
So I talked to him and he said that this one, he was good with this one.
All right. Assuming that gets us up, where are we at with it, like the city Huntsville on codes and city,
We're fine with it.
fine with that one?
We need to get something moving. We've been a while without one out there, so.
Too long.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we accept the proposal number 1 for $37,36.46 to Resource Security Incorporated.
Second.
And those contingency.
Project contingency, Mr. Patricia. Project contingency.
I didn't see Patricia, but I see a head moving.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye, or raise your hand. Motion carries. 20, discuss and take action on adding line item number 15, tie B grade 4, SAC B aggregate, AKA tie B grade 4 or SAC B aggregate to the awarded contract road material.
So discussions with Quentin and Miss Ellen, it was discussed and agreed that instead of adding the line which was solicited the first time for the award, the second and third time, and with no bids, that we should go back out for a solicitation for this one line.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have any good material of that size for sure.
Are you good with that?
Now, I'm good with that.
We're gonna, I'll get with you. I had a vendor bring me a sample and be sure that we contact them to had limited response from anybody else.
We did.
Yeah, I'll holler. So holler at me when you get
And
it.
I think this will fall into that category, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so make the motion to file for bid for type B grade 4 SAC A aggregate.
I'll say.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 21, discuss and take action on upfitting for P and D's new 2025 F-150 truck through TIPS contract number 27510 in the amount of $23,037.84.
So it was approved in P and D's budget, to spend $75,000 on a truck and upfitting. And the truck was $46,500. We purchased it and it's been approved. And now we are wanting to, complete that truck with the upfitting, and the total cost of $23,037 added to the $46,500 brings the total to $69,537.84.
Is this an officer's truck? And, okay. I was thinking, if you was upfitting something that wasn't an officer's truck, that'd be a lot of money.
It's a lot of money either way, but.
Yeah, I'd be asking a lot more questions about it. So motion to approve.
So
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 22, presentation from Texas Forest Service on $105,000 reimbursement roads. Joel, good morning.
Morning, Joel.
Judge and Commissioners, thank you for the invitation to come to Commissioners Court to discuss the Good Neighbor Authority that the Texas A&M Forest Service and the U.S. Forest Service have been working together on. I know most of you guys, my name is Joel Hambright. I'm the Regional Operations Chief for Region 4. This is Jason Raven. Jason's the District Ranger for the Sam Houston National Forest. I think y'all know Ben.
Everybody knows Ben.
Our mission, the Texas, y'all know us pretty well, but our mission for the last 110 years has been to assist private landowners, keep Texas's forests healthy, productive, suppress wildfires, and respond to disasters. So the Good Neighbor Authority was first authorized by Congress in the 2014 Farm Bill, allowing the U.S. Forest Service to enter into agreements with state forestry agencies to implement the critically important manual work on national forests when the Forest Service is unable to do the work alone to keep our forests healthy and productive. In Texas, the Texas A&M Forest Service and the U.S. Forest Service have had a GNA, a Good Neighbor Authority agreement in place since 2019. We've completed 3 timber sales, for the U.S. Forest Service, under the Good Neighbor Authority. And we just completed the one here in Walker County not long ago. The money that we generate from those timber sales is required to go to work on U.S. Forest Service property for stewardship work. But when we began this agreement with the U.S. Forest Service, we highlighted that we wanted the money that was generated from these timber sales to partner with the county and benefit the counties. And so we looked for ways on how it could benefit the counties. And we came to the conclusion that it was the road use agreements that we could use this money for. So we generated about 213,000 off of the timber sale off of 1791. And there's a road use agreement between Walker County and the U.S. Forest Service, and there's a road use agreement between San Jacinto County and U.S. Forest Service. Montgomery County, which is a third of the national forests in Montgomery County, they don't have a road use agreement. So we've divided that 213,000 up between San Jacinto and Walker. So it's about 106,000. So we've got $106,000 to give to Walker County. And it's pretty simple. All we need is just an invoice from the county for material that's used on any of these roads in the road use agreement. And it's as simple as that. And then we can pay you based on just that invoice. It just needs to have, what the material is, what road it was used on, and when. And this agreement, the nice thing about this agreement is it goes back. The agreement began between us and U.S. Forest Service on July 25th, 2023. So you can go back to July 25th, 2023. And it doesn't expire until June 27th, 2028. So you can go forward as well. I don't think you'll need to, but if you want. We just actually, we have another timber sale we're going to be doing out off of 190. We'll be coming back to you guys on here in a couple of years with hopefully some more money we can offer you. So. Okay.
Well, one thing I did hear, you said it was on 1791 and it should stay on 1791. So I appreciate that.
You like it out there? You get all the money? Is that what I'm hearing?
What you saying?
I do have one question. Was it tied anyway to the funds? What do you say? The reason why I brought that up is the RAC funds, the projects that we already have with RAC funds. It'd be nice if we funded some other project other than the RAC project, because we have some funds forthcoming from the RAC monies. Right, and the RAC doesn't meet but every couple of years, basically, is what it's been doing. So point is, we don't need to spend this money on the RAC, on those projects, even though they're on the schedules. It's big.
They just need to come back with some receipts from the last 2 years.
Yeah, just all we need is receipts for materials, and you can read.
Yep.
We can pay.
I did like the first email that had $2 million on it.
Yeah. I really do that.
I was ready to spend that money. Right?
Yeah.
That was impressive. That was nice.
They got any more questions?
Other than I figure I'm kicked out of this little.
You don't get nothing.
Ben, you want to say anything? Sure. All right. All right, we're gonna move to 23.
Great.
Discuss and take action on applying for funding reimbursement from Texas Forest Service.
Y'all, before you get out of here, you guys, thank y'all for what y'all do.
No, you're very welcome. We're glad it can go to the county.
Yeah,
Make the motion to approve agenda item 23 as presented.
But
moving seconded, all in favor, raise your hand.
you know, she was.
Motion carries. Thank you.
You still get
See ya. All right, 24, discuss and take action on countywide economic development council. Chris Emiliano, Jonathan?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how y'all doing?
All right.
This is Jonathan Thomas, Christopher. We've been out in the public kind of pushing this initiative for a while. We're here to discuss the Walker County EDC. And really, today I just want to kind of present, promote, and request support for it. I think that everybody here has kind of been privy to some of this information at some point. We've been trying to really get the word out in the community before we really launch, but we're now to a point where we're going to probably need some money. So that's why. So first, just quick background on it. We're a non-government entity. We're going to be a economic development corporation that is going to be driven and run by companies, by industry around Walker County. But we're going to need support of the county, for the city, university, and TDC, all the cities, Riverside. So we're coming to you guys today to see if you would be one of our founding members, like put some money forward on a 1-year part to help us get us launched. We're supported by the city, the community. Judge Christian has been a big part of this. Mayor Humphrey has been a big part of this on just kind of finding out what benefits our corporation, what we need to go forward. Another little talking point, we're not here to compete with any government entities or the Chamber of Commerce or any industry. Our goal is to create jobs in Walker County. We're going to try to do it in a private way that's going to be very efficient with our funds. We're going to be a very small shop. We're going to try to do something that me being from industry, I'm going to try to go out and do stuff that benefits our people in Walker County and try to get some jobs that pay. So, and you want to talk about this?
No, just, we appreciate y'all. But no, we just really want, from a university standpoint, we want to be able to be working on with our community as best as possible. And that economic development is the next wave that we want to be able to hitch our wagon to with the city and the county. If there's anything that we can do to support this as terms of grant writing or services, my office and the Office of Research and Sponsor Programs and my boss, who's the VP of Research and Strategic Partnerships, has communicated his support of this effort as well. So if there's anything that we can do to help benefit this EDC, we're more than happy to.
And one of the reasons we're coming to you now is we have established a set of bylaws, which I will leave with the court. We are in the process of hiring a director. We have a bank account. We have an office laid out. So we've done the things it takes to be a formal entity, and we're ready to launch. And so like I've started out with, we would like to ask the county to be one of our founding members, along with the city, Sam Houston and TDCJ, and private industry. So private industry is also putting money into this to the same amount. So I know that there's probably going to be a question of how much. We're asking for somewhere based on the size of the entity between 15 and 50,000. We've got commitments from some people. So that's our ask, and we just ask the board to help us out and answer your questions.
I think this is a cheap way to get us the economic development department for the county.
What number you've been involved in, Judge? What number are you thinking of?
So I was going to do 20 to 25, and then at budget, I was going to just fill out budget requests for after that. So
y'all,
I don't know what y'all
you
feel
need
comfortable
money now,
with.
Chris.
Yes, we would like to hire an EDC director. In order to hire somebody, we're going to have some money. There is some money that's already been allocated from some of the other members. So we are starting a budget. We're starting to move forward. In the bylaws, there's some laid out about what the funding will look like going forward. That ask will not be now, but at least it lets you guys see kind of what that lays out. And there's different membership levels, of course. There's membership levels for government entities, for private industry, for everything, pseudo government. So
I think Danny and I met with you a long time ago about this. Did the rest of the members of the court have a chance to meet?
I said on one
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
Brandon, have you yet?
Yes, sir.
and I appreciate y'all taking the time. Again, I felt like it was important to share with you because everybody's precinct is very different. Walker County is laid out very different, and the way that the way we want to grow Walker County needs to appeal. That's why we need you guys. We need y'all's voice. We're gonna be working with developers. We're gonna be working with industry to try to bring them here, and they're gonna affect your roads, your bridges, your where you're at. So we need your help, not just from a monetary standpoint, from your knowledge standpoint too. So
I mean, have y'all got any kind of budget or anything you can give us at this point to kind of?
So starting out, like I said, we want to try to raise about $150,000 for year one, and then let the director establish the budget going forward and let that budget. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a pretty cost-effective EDC. We're thinking 2 employees, 1 small office, and then mainly just getting out there in front of there's a lot of letters that come to you guys' office on, hey, we want to come to Walker County. Half of those things are probably, no, that's not one, but we would like to start fielding those, helping and asking the questions to see if there is a way some of those companies can come, or if there's reasons we can say yes or no, or meet together. We want to have a place local where we can meet, whether it's a question for planning and development's office, whether it's a question for Entergy, they're all gonna be on this board, and we'll be able to sit down and make a decision based on what we can do and whether they're a good fit for Walker County.
Yeah, are you gonna have like a member of the court and the city council and all that on
Yeah.
board? I can't remember everything we talked
Yeah,
about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the bylaws, again, I'm gonna read here, not everybody here wants to do that, so, but there lays out kind of who we think is prospective members. And they represent the county, the city, the university, but also all of our utilities. So it's gonna represent what the city is and what the county is. We want it to represent our body. Our board's gonna be sitting down and listening to everybody that comes in. So y'all will hear, this will be a representation of this court as well as.
And we've met with all those people prior to all this too. They've all sat down in the room. We sat down with all the electrical companies, the gas companies, and explained all that to them too. So,
And you just,
and developers and landowners.
Ronnie, you mentioned something too. You said it was a long time ago.
It was to me now,
Yeah.
you know, I'm older than y'all.
It has been. And it's because it's been kind of a design slow roll. We don't want to do something and launch something we're not ready for.
Yeah.
So we talked to you guys first, then we went to the city, talked to them. We tried to lay out a really good plan. We hired a former EDC director from Conroe, who's actually taken a position that's going to help us. We paid her, so she's been paid out of EDC's pockets. And now we're ready to take that next step, but it's been slow and it has taken a while. I've heard people like, we've been hearing about this for 4 months. Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be something that we just start up and there's not enough support and it fails. If we didn't get the support up till now, I would never come here and ask y'all for this. So I think we've got really good support throughout the county.
So Chris, I know this is the first time, it's not the first time we've heard it, but
Right.
it is the first time for some of the other agencies inside the county. Being Quentin and them, and I'm sure Miss Patricia's got questions about how this is all gonna be moved around and panned out. I would like to be able to ask him if they've got any questions at this point.
Don't know enough yet at this
Yeah.
point to even ask the question.
Right.
So, I don't know, just giving, I don't know what the judge's intent is. I mean, it's just, I'm assuming we've got to have some kind of contract. We're gonna have to look over the bylaws.
Right, absolutely.
And make sure all that stuff is done.
Yeah, and with us, if we put money in it, then this
Yeah.
would be, we have to be able to see the financials and all that.
Yeah, we'd come back and
Yeah.
work a full agreement like we do with Safe House Boys and Girls
Okay.
Club, any other entity. They turn over the books to us to request the money. Everything's the same down the road. We just need to see where everybody's at on it.
Well, the reason I ask is it sounded like you were wanting something right now.
No, and I don't really. I mean,
Okay.
that's y'all's decision on how you vote on it. I really wanted to make this official like I have talked to you all
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the side, but I'd like for this to be on the record that we are launching and we'd like.
Okay.
We just don't want to write agreements and have Quentin review contracts and bylaws and y'all come up here and say
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So
No, I get it.
Well,
if y'all are all in agreement, then
Yeah.
we'll,
I don't have no problem with looking at it
Yeah.
moving forward at all, but I would like to see the bylaws and all that, you know.
I have a copy.
I can leave this for whoever.
Y'all are in agreement, then we'll start to work on an agreement and get everybody copies into
Yep.
DA's office.
I think we move forward with it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Yep.
And I forgot your name already. What was it?
Jonathan.
Jonathan?
So Jonathan also does polytechnics. So when we talk about, when we bring jobs in and all that to our workforce solution, they'll be able to set up a degree program and certificates for a company to come into the county and say, we need these specific certificates. They'll be able to take those certificates, train them, and then develop that into coursework for a degree plan to move them on into higher education. So we can take somebody at mid-level or lower level degrees and advance them in the workforce and get them some higher paying jobs here.
You know, Chris, it's even a miracle I remembered meeting with you.
We didn't just talk about this, but our life too.
Yeah, that was the other things we talked about, probably that.
Right. I do appreciate it.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, so we're gonna pass and then I'll bring back an agreement and all the information. Work?
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. 25. Discuss delinquent tax fine and fee collection report presented by Leslie of Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott.
Morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Thank
Morning,
you.
Leslie. Can you help me with a small question? How do you pronounce your last name?
Scotty.
Okay.
like SCOTTY. I know, it's a deceptive amount.
I've been wanting to ask you that for a while.
Yes, that's totally fine. I'd rather people ask. And I'm
Than to
not,
butcher it.
I'm married into it. I'm not sensitive about the pronunciation of it at all, not in any way. My maiden name was short.
Hey, the spelling of it doesn't sound anything like that.
It doesn't, too many consonants. My husband's ancestor was Windish.
Okay,
And he made that up to hide out from the Confederates.
really?
Yes, yes, true
Okay.
story, I'm told.
That's interesting. We got some history this morning.
Yes, yes, it's quite fascinating. It's out here this morning with a delinquent tax collection report, and I have with me this morning Cooper Boner, associate with a new associate with our office. This is the second month on the job. And he is killing it. He's doing a really great job. We're actually going to be back here for court tomorrow, and I'm going to let him take the lead and sit back and relax and watch him do his thing.
Looking forward to it.
And Tiger works as well.
Everybody knows
Y'all
Tiger.
know Tiger. Yes, the infamous Tiger. I just wish I had a cool name like that. That's way better than Scotty.
Blame my dad for that.
There you go. Well, he set you up. It's a great name. Anyhow, as we go through the report, these are the delinquent taxes only. This is through the 2023 tax year. So keep in mind, the appraisal district is collecting the currents. They're collecting around 95% every year, and they're turning over to me around 5-6% every July. So taxes go delinquent February 1st. They get the taxpayers, if they are still delinquent in May, they get what's called a 3307 notice. And that's mailed from the appraisal district. And that warns the taxpayers, it's our due process procedure, that the collection penalty will attach on July 1 if the taxes are still delinquent come July 1. The collection penalty is 15% penalty, and that is the collection of the penalty that's passed on to the taxpayer is how we get paid. So we're at no cost to the county. We only get paid if we collect the money. So it's a very incentivizing process. So I like to preface the collection report as we start that the appraisal district's collecting around 95%. This is just what gets turned over to us on a yearly basis. So the first chart we have is the account breakdown chart, and this gives me a snapshot of the entire delinquent roll through 2023 as it is categorized. You'll notice the largest section is the action pending section at 30%. Those are taxpayers that we are trying to contact. We're trying to reach them by phone. We're trying to reach them by letter. We're doing title work research to see if there's a lien holder on the property so we can contact them as well. Many of these taxpayers are actually in payment agreements around this time of year, and we're monitoring those monthly and letting those pay those out. The next largest section we have is, actually, I skipped the deferral section. That was the largest section. I apologize. The deferral section at 31%, just 1% higher than the action pending. Those tax deferred accounts are your taxpayers that are 65 or older or have a disability, and they've elected to defer payment of their taxes on their residence homestead. So they can only have one residence homestead at a time. They have to get the homestead exemption with the appraisal district, and then they have to file an affidavit applying for this deferment. So they have to prove that they live there, they have to prove ownership to prove their entitlement to the deferment. And then once that deferment is in place, we cannot actively collect on those accounts. However, those taxpayers can opt to make payments while they're in that deferment status. So sorry, I skipped ahead on the action pending. Now third on the chart is the litigation section at 27%. So that's when our phone calls, our letters, contacting the lien holder, if those fail or the taxpayer set up a payment agreement and didn't make any payments or defaulted their payment agreement, sometimes it's necessary for us to proceed to litigation. So this is everything in the litigation process from suit just filed yesterday to ready for the next tax sale. I'm going to move along to the dollar range chart. Next chart. Our system puts together taxpayers that accounts that are owned by the same taxpayer. So when I refer to an account, and in this chart, it could be that one taxpayer owns multiple accounts, and we do this for efficiency purposes. So when we make our phone calls, we can discuss all of the taxpayers' accounts at one time. Or if we need to file a lawsuit, we can cover all the taxpayers' accounts at one time for judicial efficiency. Note that the 10,000 and up category, which is only 8%, The vast majority of those taxpayers are in the tax deferments. Two of them are in litigation and one of them has a commitment to pay, but the bulk of your taxpayers in the county are in the $2,500 to $1,000 range. Third chart is your tax year chart. Largest percentage of delinquency for the 2023 tax year. That was turned over to us last July for collections. It's around 30% of your delinquent roll. So when we're still working actively to collect, we'll start 2024 on July 1. So many of these, if they're not in a payment agreement, are working their way into the litigation process. 16 and prior, many of those are your over 65 or disability tax deferrals. Those remain on the account until the taxpayer is no longer eligible for deferral or ceases that property as their residence homestead. There are some accounts with mapping or title issues. We work year round with the appraisal district to correct those accounts or whatever tweak is necessary to be made, missing link to the appraisal district so that we can continue with collection on those. Then I have some historical collection data for the taxes for 2020 through 2023. You'll see for the 2020 tax year, we're at 76% collected of what was initially turned over to us. And I'm going to skip to 2023. You'll see we are almost 54% collected of what was initially turned over to us for that tax year last July. So keep in mind, 31% of your roll is in active deferral. So that reflects in what we can do on this historical data as well, since we can't actively collect on those accounts. We're doing almost monthly tax dockets in both district courts. We kind of flip-flop district courts, 12th and 278th every other month. So we're coming to court roughly once a month, and we're having 3 to 4 tax sales per year. Our last tax sale being in February and next one in July. If you're interested, you can visit our website, pbfcm.com. And now I'm going to switch gears to fine and fee collections. We represent your 4 Justice of the Peace courts for collection of fines and fees. And it works out much like the delinquent tax system. The Texas Code of Criminal Procedure allows us to add a 30% penalty when those are turned over to us. And that fee is passed along to the defendant. And it's through collection that we get paid that 30%. So our main goal is to get the defendant's attention, drive them to the court for resolution. And I provided you a chart showing some statistics, the amounts that were initially turned over to us, percentages that we've collected. We've resolved about 25%. If you average the totals for each JP court in collections of actual money, the courts have cleared about 10% on average by dismissal or clearing the case. So about 35% have been resolved by either dismissal or payment. And I have some charges. Oh, all 4 courts participated in the case resolution program this year. That means we mail the defendants a colorful postcard. And if the court does warrants, that notifies them that there could be a warrant. So then again, our goal is to get them to contact the court and resolve the matter. It's the main goal with those postcards. Case resolutions. So the next 3 maps I have attached, just to give you an idea. First one is the top 10 accounts by zip code. The top 60 accounts are in the 77358 zip code. Then we have the top 10 bad address accounts by zip code. These are ones where mailings are coming back to us. So we're trying to find and correct the address for those defendants. And I forgot to mention, we started texting in February of this year. So we now have the ability to text the defendants as well. So you'll see on that initial fine and fee chart that gave you the statistics, how many phone calls, letters we've sent. We've had 17,858 text contacts so far. So trying to leave no stone uncovered and try to get their attention and let them know, drive them to the court. So top 10 bad address. And then the final one, which is my favorite, is really fascinating. It shows a nationwide map where we've tracked these folks that have come through your county, got some kind of violation, and where they have gone since. Wow. So I find that one really fascinating.
Says all accounts for JP four. Is that not all the JPs? Or all
It's
four?
all, this one is just four.
Just precinct?
So that one's on the, is that one on the freeway?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way station.
So they're getting the most. That's your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do y'all have any questions? It's fascinating to see what big concentration of them over on the East Coast, surprisingly.
I don't know how y'all keep up with all that, but I thank you for doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our pleasure.
Yeah, y'all do a great job for us and we appreciate what y'all do, Lester.
Thank you very much. And feel free to reach out anytime. I'm available anytime. If you have any questions or need anything.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Scotty.
Appreciate your time.
26, discuss and take action on authorization to apply for 2025 unclaimed property capital credits from the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts. That's my motion. Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 27, discuss and take action on hiring a part-time employee for precinct 3 summer mowing from June 1st through October 31st at the salary of $16 an hour to be paid from budgeted funds.
We did this last year. It worked out super well for us. I'd like to do it again. My motion to approve agenda item 27.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 28, discuss and take action to purchase Ford F-450 chassis from ESD number 2 for Road and Bridge from Road and Bridge 4 funds in the amount of $10,000.
My motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 29, discuss and take action on civil actions related to former EMS employees. That'll go executive session on 551. Oh, what?
7-1.
71? Time is 9:46. And time is 10:02. We're back from executive session. No action taken on number 29. We're going to planning development, number 30. Public hearing concerning amendments to the Walker County subdivision regulations under chapter 232 of Texas Government Code. Time is 10:02. Anyone here wants to speak? All right. Now these,
Well, I did have one call, while I was sitting there, Mr. Bias called and expressed his concerns. I think a couple of y'all walked in while I was talking to him. But anyway,
gonna be short public hearing.
So we're gonna go over some of this. Or y'all wanna go over any of that?
we'll have to go over it in 31.
Yeah.
30, yeah, 31.
Any developers there in the room want to talk? All right. We're gonna go into number 31. Public hearings closed at 10:03.
All right, Stephanie.
31, discuss take action on order 2025-54 to amend the Walker County subdivision regulations under chapter 232 of Texas Government Code.
Stephanie, how good are our concrete standards?
Well, this one.
We got
So
good.
we're increasing the PSI from 3,500 to 4,000 PSI for your concrete. We're reducing the spacing on some, well, we're changing some of the steel requirements in the concrete. So this will improve them. These changes.
50-year concrete roads.
Hopefully, so every pavement section is going to need to be ultimately designed by a geotechnical or an engineer. For every development, we just list the minimum standards. So if you have a development that's going to have like increased truck traffic, something like that, then the standard is going to exceed what our minimum standard is in the current regulations or any proposed regulations.
Yeah.
That's for asphalt and concrete.
True, yes.
Okay, because that was one of the big concerns. We have some of the roads failing and I understand where you're coming from completely.
Yeah.
My big thing was we need to upgrade what's underneath the asphalt too, not.
Everything.
Yeah, and it keeps referring back to TxDOT 2024 versus 2014. I didn't read 2014, get lost in that book. So from 2014 to 2024, have we gotten bigger? Is there improvements as far as what we're putting underneath it?
So there's clarifications as to, for example, the recycled base. TxDOT has clarified their recycled base material requirements. So that's an improvement, but we've eliminated that option even from the regulations. So that's not really an option. I'm sure there's other improvements. I just don't know.
So, and I think I give all you guys this. This was a road that I engineered, but they did the geotech on one of my roads. And one of our subdivisions was built, and I keep going back to this, asphalt, concrete pavement options. And it goes in here and you have to decide which level you want, right? 200,000 eSals, 250, 400. Our big subdivisions was built at 250. I've made a decision for precinct 4, we're building everything out at 400. So is that addressed in our changes that we've made?
Not directly, but it is addressed, because we ultimately have to sign some traffic load. So I think the subdivision you're talking about, I don't know if that was actually designed for the actual traffic load that's on those streets, because the section, the pavement section, say 250,000 easels, then you are looking at probably about 2,000 vehicle trips per day.
Right.
And so if you've got a very large subdivision, they may be seeing a lot more. Okay. That might be the issue. And so now the current standard, so that was designed under the 2000s. Current standard requires that the field technical provide a design that's going to give you a 20-year life. So based on the actual traffic load.
Well, part of the problem that I'm seeing out in our big subdivision is that we didn't really account for the 500 to 600 loads per pad because of the way the ground is. So all we have is dump truck after dump truck after dump truck
And that needs to be
Yeah.
addressed
Yeah.
in that figure there.
Yeah.
Yes, whenever it's built out, the load's gonna be household and
Yeah.
garbage trucks. I get that, but the building process is what we gotta get through.
Yeah, the building process is gonna be the key to get through that, and a lot of it is the landscape. How your landscape is terrible out there in certain areas, where you've got 1,000 loads of dirt hauled into one pad. But,
So how do we address that in our policy?
We can,
Who makes that call besides the developer?
well, it's their engineering team that would make the ultimate on what the design of the pavement should look like. We only have the minimum standard. And so they need to relay, and we can build this into the regulation, but they need to relay to whoever's designing that pavement section that it needs to account for those first few years of development where you do see increased traffic load, increased weights on your pavement. The large trucks, dump trucks, things like that.
I mean, to your point, we have minimums. So you could assume heavier loading for trucks under our minimum and raise the minimum standard, increase the amount of base, increase the thickness of pavement as a minimum. You could set the minimum higher. But once you proceed past minimum, then it becomes a design by the developer's PE that's submitted based on their TIA, their trip estimation, and all that kind of stuff. I understand it, but from our sitting up here, I want to make that minimum either better, or when the PE, not the developer's PE, when our engineer looks at it, we take that into consideration. Just because it's 1,000 trips per day, like Ronnie said, we're gonna build whatever homes, you got 900 truckloads of dirt coming in to build that home. That's our problem. That's.
it's not gonna be the car traffic that's gonna kill us.
No.
It's the heavy truck traffic up front
Yeah.
is what's the main issue I've seen.
You can increase your depth of stabilization, you can increase the thickness of your base, you can increase the thickness of your asphalt. How you do that, it kind of varies. So you may, so one example, if you were to step up to like 4,000 easels. This is a project specific requirement, but it stepped up from 2 inches of asphalt, 8 inches of base, 6 inches stabilized to 2 inches of asphalt, 6 inches of base, and 10 inches of stabilized subgrade. So it increased the stabilized subgrade to carry additional load, but you could reduce your base material.
I don't want to
There's
reduce
options
any
with that.
material. Everything needs to increase.
Understood. So there's options to, so increasing your asphalt thickness. A lot of entities, especially for your arterial and higher, for your collector and higher, you may see like 2.5 inches of asphalt versus 2 inches of asphalt. I think the 2000 regulations only required 1.5 inches of asphalt, and 6 inches of base and 6 inches stabilized. So what we have now is increased from that minimum 2000 standard.
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter how much asphalt you put, if the underneath don't hold, I mean, it's still
Right.
to fail, so increasing the asphalt's not really where we need to be. I mean, it's to a certain degree, but if we got concrete, then it's weight bearing,
But if we don't put this in
so.
our policy now.
Yeah.
If we don't put this in our policy, then it's gonna be an argument between engineer versus engineer.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. We gotta have it very specific where they understand what it is. He done stood up twice, so
Yeah, I gotta say something.
go ahead.
One of the things that.
Hey, Don, state your name for Carrie, please.
I know, Don.
Okay,
Everybody
just
knows
making
Don.
sure.
Drinking Haterade this morning. Anyway, what the issue is, I work with engineers, and outside of Walker County is where 90% of our work occurs. What we're trying to do is replacing a design standard as a regulation, and that's all fine and good. But minimum standards and placing this type of authority on the county goes back to errors and omissions of what we're making people do. In a nutshell, in all of the locations outside of Walker County, when we get finished with a project, there's a certificate of compliance that our engineers will have to sign off on. And they're the ones who come in with the testing. They're the ones who are going to come and take a look at that subgrade. And they're going to say, from those geotechnical reports, they're going to say, for instance, ballpark up here. Everybody knows it's flexible land. Standard is 42 inches removed, replace it with a low PI under a 15 to 18 PI. And then it's up to the contractor to notify us, and we will come out there and check that depth. We will check that compression. We're gonna look at is it 94% Proctor? Is it 94% modified? Has the PSI worked out? Is there an underground stream underneath there? Those are all elements that go in there. So I think that the easiest thing to do to correct this situation is place it back onto the engineer. He's the one that's ultimately responsible. But you're removing his responsibility when you're coming up with this. You're limiting his responsibility. So you need to turn it back over there to the engineer and say, look, Mr. Contractor, we need this, this, and this. And the engineer of record is going to be required to provide that geotechnical information, independent testing to come in. And they're not going to spot check it. I've gone around here in Walker County before, and I've seen a report that says it's compliant. And then my guys took out 5 tree roots out of a pad. The test point that the contractor said, test it right there. That's wrong. That's wrong, because he knows it's going to pass right there. 10 feet away, it's not going to pass. 50 feet away, at station 0 plus 200, it's not going to pass. Those are all things that you would normally do in standard procedures. It is covered under the occupations code, which talks about Engineering Practice Act, same thing with architecture. When you go through there, he's got that responsibility. One of the concerns that I voiced to Andy, and I voiced to Bill and other people, we're reluctant to provide any type of engineering services around here because we don't get the final say. They get finished with it. They turn in their document. I've got one right now. Did we not, Bill? Right now. We're not signing off on it. Wasn't done right. They did the drawings. We had the engineers, all the backup there. The customer's going, your guys need to sign off. No, we don't. Wasn't done right. That's the way it works. That's all I got.
That's the way it's supposed to work, Don. But if it worked that way, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but it does not always work that way.
So just for the court's information,
That's the problem.
current process. Like, we do have a minimum technical specification. In other words, you can't go below this, but we do require the engineer to do the design to whatever level is necessary for them to be able to stamp it. It's going to function in association with criteria. And we are requiring that the engineer, the developer's engineer, the private sector engineer, certify that everything was constructed in accordance with their plans prior to it coming back to. So if they don't get that, and we have a case where they're having a hard time getting that, then the court has been very reluctant in the past to approve anything without the engineer sign off on these subdivision plats. There's one that's been back to court a couple of times and is struggling with getting that final certification or hasn't approved it yet.
I mean, normally that'd be like a Blau Associates function. They would take a look.
Even some of those letters, certification letters we get back. Stuff isn't done on them.
Right.
Yeah, no, we've had that come up, where we get a certification and go out and the thing that they're certifying is.
Yeah, and
With the certificate, there's certificate of occupancy for a building, but there's certificate of compliance. And that, because there is no vertical authority, there's no inspection authority in the Texas legislature. We've talked about that multiple times. There's no vertical. Doesn't mean that you can't require the engineer to provide by law what he is supposed to provide by law. That's covered under his occupations. He had one. That's all.
I almost wonder, could you, as part of your design for new construction, could you make them consider what you just talked about, the 1,000 dump truck loads? You know, when you're laying out your subdivision and you're going to build it, if you're going to start at the front because it's easier to go to the back, do you? I don't know how you get it in there, but you have to say, you're going to have your dirt and then your concrete and then your wood, and you're going to have 500 dump truck loads or 550,000 pound, 80,000 pound trucks coming to every single house that gets built through there. So they have to account for that somehow. I don't know how you do that, but it's like, so they draw it, like say for the 2 Toyotas that are going to park in the driveway, and that's fine, but that's not who goes in there for the.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get through construction.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty good shape.
Yeah,
You're
they're
getting through
building
construction.
one subdivision that's in my neighborhood right now that's working, gets the very, 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 very back. And they're driving through the entire thing to get there, you know, so the big beautiful roads that are holding up the Toyotas and the pickup trucks. And getting ready to get whooped up by that right there, so, I don't know how you write that in there. You got to put you have to account for the super heavy loads at the beginning. If you're going to keep running over your roads while you build the next section.
And that's the typical thing that is
Yeah.
done. They build the first section and work in.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you get some of these counties taking into consideration that they won't take them till X is built out.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know that that's
Yeah.
not the only way around it. I mean,
Is Grimes County like still doing that, Andy, or do you know?
I haven't reviewed their current code, so I'm not sure. There was a county that I was told by the developer, they delayed acceptance of the roads and depot maintenance until there was a certain percentage of lots that were built out. I think that's the problem they were trying to overcome is you're not probably gonna find a lot of developers that are in love with that idea that they maintain the roads.
But they
probably
don't
not
seem to have a problem going over the road with
I'm just letting you know what.
all the other trucks.
But no, that is, I think, what their approach is. We won't take it until you get to this point of subdivision. That being said, I mean, I think the court realizes this, but to get to 70 or 80% build out on the straight land subdivisions, the owner builder subdivisions go a lot faster, but the straight land sale subdivisions, we may be looking at decades to get the subdivision built out. We've got lots still being built on an open lake right now, and that's
and have for 20, 30 years.
All my life, just about, you know.
just FYI. I mean, that was
Yeah, I don't think that's very feasible anyhow. I mean, it sounds good from our side, but
outside of that, improving the minimum standard to a higher, higher traffic loads, higher weights, would be the only other solution that we could all go that I can think of. Maybe another one that I haven't thought of.
Yeah, I mean, and that's our problem in that new subdivision out there is all the truck traffic.
And honestly, that subdivision spans so many different versions of the codes, like.
Yeah,
you go
it
back.
started with the least, now it's back up to. But I mean, it's still not stopping, and they met it, you know, they met every responsibility they're supposed to meet above and beyond. And we're still having failures because of all the truck traffic that's out there. But you think some of the paths probably got 1,000 loads of dirt in them.
Right. There's some.
You've seen them out there.
There's some sizable paths.
Yeah.
So we can include some generic language that indicates that the engineer shall design the pavement for the construction phase of the project. And, you know, again, you know, push that, put that responsibility should be on the people designing the pavement. So just to put that in regulation may help.
But then,
But the end result
like these
is-
land subdivisions, like we say, we lobby decades out before they're finished.
There are some subdivisions that I work in that will only allow 6 yards max on a dump truck or a concrete truck. Regardless.
See, that would have to come like
No,
private
no, I
because
don't
the
know
county
how
can't
you
do that.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it to over you take
Yeah.
that ball. But I mean, we're bound to, it's a public road.
I think we got more work on this, you know, I don't know if we can. I don't know that we're done with it today, even if we do something today, I don't know that we're done with it today.
Oh, we'll never be done with it.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
whole
we need to do something to move forward though. I mean, you know, we put this off a little while already, but.
Now,
You could have
added in the
third-party-
concrete section and everything that I've seen on that, increasing it to 4,000, having the either or, but, you know, I'm okay with that. We still got to get the bottom of it better.
What's
On
your
both
thoughts, Andy?
options.
Like I said, it's never gonna be over with.
You know,
It's,
I mean,
you build it, you set a standard, a minimum standard, not a standard, but a minimum standard. 9 times out of 10, that's what they're gonna do, you know? And, if we don't keep up in our standards, then you get what you get. And what we get is not working, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and
I remember I went out on one of Bill's deals here been a year or so ago, and I was visiting with a contractor and the road was absolutely falling apart. And they were selling the homes faster than they could build the road, you know, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
And the people were still buying it.
When they tell us 20 years for the road and what might last 14 months.
Yeah.
But it's after
Amazing.
the year and they're gone. Like,
then insurers, then,
they
see, I
didn't
mean,
have more
that's,
years out of it. They
Yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
it. So-
and then that engineer stamped off on it, so is he gonna pay for that, Don, or what?
No, you know they ain't.
I said, after he gets out of the warranty period and the engineer stamped off on 20-year roads, he gonna pay to fix it?
Have to check with his insurance.
That's what I
Yeah,
figured you'd tell me.
exactly. Yeah, it's being lost, and the end result is no. We'll never pay.
Check with his insurance. Thanks for the answer. I appreciate
And
it.
everything changes, right?
I knew you'd tell me something like that.
We built the bridge, before I was ever associated with it, now we built the bridge for the county, out on Gore Creek Cemetery. It's got beams under it, probably 5 foot tall, no problem. They started running these, what we call them super dumpers, where there's a dump truck with 10 axles under it. TxDOT come out and re-engineered that, or re-inspected that bridge, and now it has a weight limit on it for that specific purpose, because things have changed, right?
You do not have Jerry Nimick engineering your bridge.
No, it was Jerry was very well involved in that. The point of saying that is this has to be a living document.
Yeah.
It has to change
Oh,
as
it's
the
gonna change.
times change.
It's time to change.
Hey, I can change it today.
Well, it begs the question, if your minimum standards are concrete and asphalt, and I select the concrete, is concrete an acceptable solution for a high plasticity soil?
It's generally not.
It's gonna be your job to tell me that. You're the engineer.
Standard says concrete 6 inches thick with rebar 16 inches on center.
Minimal standard.
I'm at the minimum standard.
Well,
But you told me a while ago, though, Donna, you're gonna design this thing for the soil. So I don't want you to be on the minimum side or nothing. As an engineer, you're supposed to be above it.
But your document doesn't say that, Ronnie. That's the problem.
But you told me that a while ago,
Be
though.
clear that
I was listening.
design as a 20-year road life by a PE and the minimum standard. So it's both. It's not just if you do minimum standard, you don't have to design it. You have to do both. It's not either or, it's both. It has to meet the minimum standard. So if your design is less than, then you have to bring it up too. But that doesn't relieve you from liability of designing more than, if that's what's necessary to build a road that meets the criteria.
If you know that the dump trucks are going to be coming in with the super loads or whatever, then that road, that information should be shared up front. We're talking like subdivision normally will do a nice entrance, sell all the section 1, and go to section 2, then section 3. So when you set this up, that load zone can be established. I mean, your standard load would be like a $40,000 pound load. That would be a standard traffic or whatever. Okay, that's a standard thing that you would do. But in some instances, you would need to design for that TxDOT certification of that truck. If they're going to go in there with trucks that are above that average, then they would need to design for that, or those trucks would not be allowed to go in there.
Therefore, again, it's a public road and it has to be built to the 80,000
Correct.
pound standard.
Correct.
So anything over the 80,000 has to be run through TxDOT.
Right.
But anything under that is ours.
Right. So it goes from a collector to an arterial or something else. By definition, on the front end, if he's going to be bringing in 18-wheelers with these super dumps and stuff like that, that's not a standard deal. It's not your regular dump truck with Willie Bell coming over 12 yards. So that's just the way they kind of get it. So that would be the thing up front, that if they're going to develop this out for this 20-year phase 1 or whatever, that road should meet that standard for that development to go further. They know that going in there. They're going to buy in larger quantities, you know. That's true. But at the same time, it's the cost of the road. And the engineers can say the same thing. You allow dump trucks to go in here that the road was never designed for. I designed it for a collector. I'll use it as an arterial.
So the consensus of the court is we need to build it better.
A lot better. And let me
That
just say,
means we need to raise our minimums.
yeah,
Which I think we've accomplished with the new new text dot standards?
Likely, I haven't compared it side by side to 2014, so I can't say certainly, but definitely TxDOT would not have changed their standard, to something that provides
What about color?
a substandard.
What's that list today? Yeah.
But are we gonna instruct Andy's office to, hey, take in consideration of loads? Are we gonna take in, what they're gonna build? If we stick to just a trip analysis, the trip proposal, whatever, we're gonna get minimum built to what we have in our policy. If we don't up our policy, our requirements in our policy, we're gonna get built at the minimum. Because as one comment, the two Nissans, the two Toyotas that go through there are gonna be fine. If we don't somehow take into consideration what's gonna build out in there, then we're just spinning our wheels. We're not gonna accomplish anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's no possible way we're gonna come to a solution today. Can we just do a workshop next court on this?
Yeah.
Where we can not holding all these other people up.
Yeah.
Is we can, right now, our minimum subgrade stabilization is 6 inches. And we see a lot of subgrade failure. I've seen a lot of subgrade failure when I've been out in the field. And so, maybe we increase that to 8 inches minimum, and that's gonna give you,
10 inches sounds better. 10 inches sounds better.
If you go to the 10, that gets you on the ESAL chart pretty high.
We're gonna have to do something, but yeah, like saying, maybe you can come back for our workshop on the next court if that's a possibility.
Does the court want to take action on this before the court today? And come
Yeah, if
back?
you got other things other than the road standards in there, yeah.
Adding concrete standard in, but it just adds it. It doesn't replace anything.
Right.
I'd look at taking action on what's in the actual policy today, because this is a posted meeting.
Yes.
Set the posting requirements and all that. The workshop is a workshop, so it's
To
a
amend
decision
it.
item. You don't necessarily have to be a posting requirement for that as long as you're not taking action. We can review what's before the.
Yeah, that's fine, Andy, if you want to do that.
I think.
But I'd ask
Look
you
at
this,
all the rest of it.
can we ask you, how long is it gonna take? I don't wanna do an hour with these folks sitting here.
Move it to the back.
I would like to do that.
It's up to you guys.
I'd like to pause, Andy. Let's take care of everybody else, get them out of here.
That sounds good to me.
They don't need to sit through all this.
All right, we're gonna break from 31 for a minute and come back to it. 32, discuss take action on approval of construction examination guidelines. We're gonna pass on that one too? All right, 33, discuss and take action on Top Diamond Investment Group LLC request for 12-month extension for development on-site wastewater.
They've been before the commissioner's court. Their original application did put in several years ago. He coming back, looking for extensions on the permit. The court has granted, I think, 3 extensions to this point. They're asking for another 12-month extension for a manufactured housing community.
Are they here?
Thought this was RV.
It is RV.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is. It's our.
Anybody here for that?
The point I'm gonna make on this one is I think this is the one on Julia Justiceville.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the only one that wanted to do it right. The only RV park that was willing to do what we asked them.
Right. No problem.
So unless they're willing to change that, I'm fine with giving them an extension.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Like a motion.
That's your motion.
I'll make that motion to, yeah, I'll make the motion to approve an
I'll
extension.
give you a second.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. 34, discuss and take action on Ms. Morales' request for variance on on-site sewer facility regulations of Walker County regarding permit application 2025-0092.
Yeah, we'll get to you pretty soon, I guarantee.
So the request is that there's an existing on-site wastewater system on the property. There isn't a claim included that it was installed prior to the grandfather date, 1980. It's a 2-acre tract. The appraisal district records that we could find show 2004 is the placement date. There is a letter from a sanitarian where they've looked at setbacks But, you know, as I've said before, we're responsible to TCEQ for this permitting, where the county access authorization to TCEQ. Typically, what that means is that we can go beyond the TCEQ rules in the way that we permit. We can have increased regulation, and we do in some cases in our local policy. But there's waiving of a permit altogether gets sort of deep into the gray area of the extent of our jurisdiction. Variances is different than waiving permit requirements altogether. So I don't have, again, any backup showing that it was installed prior to the grandfather date. I don't even have a claim that it was installed prior to the grandfather date. All I've got right now is the sanitary report about the setbacks, which is only part of the inspection criteria for the system. And it's also on a 2-acre tract. So I brought this up to Commissioner's Court before. If it's on 10 acres and larger tracts, the state allows a waiver for permitting on those. So the court could, I would think, do similarly to what the state does. We require permits on all tracts regardless of size. So we would be waiving essentially a local requirement if it was on a tract that was 10 acres or larger. This one is not. That's the reason I bring up the acreage to remind the court. So it's for Commissioner's Court, but I would just, you know, caution the court, given the fact that we don't have any permitting. The recentness of the permit is the last thing we showed was in 2000. The applicant may have something else to add, but I'm just giving you what was given to us.
What's the deal, Bill?
I mean, so like we really don't know when it was installed at all. We don't have any sort of history back on that property.
I don't have any information, any claim from them on the install date. All I have is what we've done. We've looked for permitting in our records, could not locate any. And the appraisal district shows 2004.
2004.
Anybody hear from this?
Maybe somebody online. I don't know.
Anybody online, Ally?
And it's on a small track, right?
Yeah.
It's on a 2-acre parcel.
Yeah. So, I'm we can only go by the information we have. If it says 2004, then, I would say it this way. So barring them bringing any evidence of being a pre-1980 installation, then I would, deny the variance. Permit.
Is it a home they living in?
Yeah, that's a picture of it right there.
I got a motion,
Second.
moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand.
And that is with the
Motion
caveat, they
carries.
don't bring any
Yes.
pre-1980.
Bring some additional information. I'll bring it back and forth.
Okay.
Okay.
35, discuss and take action on Steve Gabriel request for variance to on-site sewer facility regulations, Walker County regarding permit application 2025-0132.
Must have been something in the air. I've got 3 of these.
I like it.
So, Gambrell, this is a different set of facts. They're putting a new application for a new system. There's an existing system that's already on the property. We're required by the state to replace those systems. Our policy currently allows that if they're permitted or grandfathered, that they can stay in use. As long as they're not following the nuisance. They are, they're claiming that it was pre-1980. You'll see in the backup, and their claim is it's pre-80. We don't show a permit, but again, we wouldn't. Our appraisal district date showing 2009, but that could have been something that got replaced on an even older system, to be honest. I mean, but that's 2009 date, and this one is on a 25-acre tract. So if the court, one option the court would have is to waive this under the 10-acre requirement.
Yeah.
I know Steve has lived back there a long time. I don't know how long. This is, right out there on Rosenwald. They had some family land, but, like I said, he's lived back there a long time. But as far as, I don't know if they've changed the house out or if they got all the right, anything other than that.
So either, 2 options here is if the report makes an administrative determination, grandfathered, or the second option is if you're not convinced that it's pre-80, but you want to grant an exception to it, you could allow it under the fact that it's a 10 acre plus tract for the existing.
Yeah.
With the support.
And they're adding another house and putting that system in.
Yeah, the new one will be permitted.
Permitted.
To code. It's the existing one that they're seeking the grant.
They've had some changes in land out there. I don't know exactly what's going on. Have you talked to them about any of that, Andy?
No,
I mean-
I just have the acreage based on what was submitted to us. If it's changed, I don't have that.
I got a Senate 14 inches.
Yeah.
I'll go out on a limb on this one and approve variance 2025-10132.
Based on the size or?
Based on the size of the lot.
Potentially grandfather, or I guess it could be both.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 36, discuss take action on Casey Peterson, Nikki Vasquez request for variance to on-site sewer facility regulations regarding 2025-0152.
Morning.
Morning.
How
Good.
about you?
The property we bought had a house on it previously. It was a 3 bedroom. We moved on another mobile home. And the system we have was put in 87, and the change system, it's the house that we have on it. We're experiencing more issues. We had a Syrian sanitary come out and write a letter on it in our report and put a stamp on it.
So on this one, it's a 2 is what I'm showing is the
Go
acreage.
white road.
There, the
Oh, no,
plan
that's
is
just sanitary.
that it's
Never mind.
85, 87.
Oh, what's one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
I knew he
my
could-
grandfather.
Same also.
Just look at this.
You know, this side of the grandfather. That's as far as the court's finding, I don't know what they've not taken the stance, but we can't locate a permit. I will tell the court, knows this, I've told you before, in the early 80s, there are cases where we have located permits in places other than our office. Where existed. The record keeping was a little, I just say a little more sketchy in the afterwards. So I cannot sit here and tell you, for a fact that no permit was ever issued.
Do you have a paper? I don't know if this is for a permit, but I do.
We have that. We have.
That goes
Just
back,
that it was an 87.
that goes back to 87, 85. That's as far back as we can find. So, again, rather than, just saying no permits required, the court might want to make an administrative determination that maybe there was a permit submitted and it is not any longer.
Going back into the 80s, we've been a little more lax on that one, or more receptive to talking about that one. Especially if you have a piece of paper to show, at least something happened in 87 there. So, and I've been by the property and it's, I don't see any issues when I was there. So I'm okay with offering a variance on.
Well, and with the consideration that it may have been, an administrative issue.
Yeah, like anything in the mid 80s.
On this paper that she's looking at right here, the deck was built in 1979. Is that the way I'm reading that?
The house is actually, I believe it's an 83.
It
But
might have
the
been a
house
house
that was
before.
in this picture is actually not the house that we moved off the property. So I believe that this is an older house than the house that we have on the
But the
property.
point is, if we built a deck in 1979, probably built the deck on something,
Yeah, there's something.
and that's pre-1980.
Yeah.
We didn't just build a deck out there for nothing.
Yeah.
Determination of grandfather,
Your motion, Bill?
My motion is to, yeah.
determination that grandfather.
Yeah.
Moving second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good luck.
37, discuss and take action on right-of-way acquisition for Walker County Emergency Services District Number 2 for Hathorne Road Construction Project.
So this is on there, Brandon, is looking at right of way from up to the picture. I don't think
We didn't get a picture.
it's attached.
No.
Nope.
2 pages.
You bring that with you.
We've seen it.
We've seen it before. We're taking it this way and turning it this way. We got it.
Yeah.
We got it, Andrew.
We don't
Yeah.
need to say that.
Yeah, we're fine with that. We know what.
Okay,
So
obviously, it's not signed by the ESD at this point, and we'll have to have original copies of this, of the 2 exhibits so that they can be filed with the clerk. The ones we have now are copied. So those are supposed to be coming forward from the surveyor. The idea would be for to allow them to accept, the court to accept the right of way once it's been signed and we have the updated exhibits for this new routing of the road.
Okay,
That's going to be my motion.
I'll second that.
I will state before the court, just so this doesn't become confusing for later generations. The exhibit does show a potential area. They may be seeking abandonment at some point in the future, but that is not part of this action.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. 38, discuss and take action on 4-Star Real Estate Group request for variance to section 3.41 Walker County subdivision regulations regarding text tie-in permit 2022-037.
That's our
This elevation land solution. Oh, the other 4-Star. Sure, y'all getting used to seeing me at this point. Good to see y'all. So last court, a couple items were tabled. I believe actually the wrong item got put on the agenda, but we've resolved that one anyway, so I'm not super worried about it. So quick couple updates. One of them that was on the agenda was the text item, and y'all have already rejected that one. I will say we're working, still trying to get something with text. I've sent multiple things in the last couple of weeks. We'll come back later if we can't get anything worked out with them, but we're trying. One of the items that we had tabled that we were going to rediscuss today had to do with that drainage study. Since it's not on the agenda, I'm just going to hit a high level and give you an update because I think we've resolved it. That was the one we were talking about outfalling the unmitigated portion of the creek. We've figured out a solution to where we could outfall it upstream, still take it into a diversion pipe into a pond. We had a meeting with Andrew at GLS last Wednesday to discuss it. High level, didn't seem like there were any concerns. We've resubmitted everything for their review. So at this point, we're just going to withdraw that one, and I think we've fixed the issue.
So that item would be back once we've had a chance to review the from last Thursday.
Okay.
If it still doesn't achieve the variance.
If it needs variance.
Yeah. So then the only one we're talking about today was the Fleximat and the ditch variance that we talked about.
Wait.
You know, give us
We're
time
on
to
the
get.
text tie-in permit.
We're on, yeah.
He's requesting a pass on that.
Okay.
I thought.
Pass on 38. 39, discuss and take action on 4-Star Real Estate Group request for variance to section B 12.8M, B 12.8N, B 12.9D, and B 12.10 of the Walker County subdivision codes. Go ahead.
All right. So this one was that Fleximat and swell variance. The first half of the variance was erosion control. We just wanted to be able to use Fleximat as an equal to riprap or slope paving for anything less than 10 feet per second. With the reason being, it looks better with grass growing between it. It's got the concrete blocks that does have some energy dissipation, performs better than slope paving up to 3-to-1 side slopes, has a higher strength than slope paving, and is easier to maintain. Last time we were talking about the mud's going to maintain all that anyways. It's not going to be Walker County. All drainage features will go through the mud. That was the first half of the variance. The second half was the one that we kind of got hung up on and wanted to talk to GLS again. So I think the variance looks maybe more daunting than it is. The thing I wanted to point out was Walker County rules and regs only describe a roadside ditch, gives that sort of an outline, but there are other types of ditches and uplands, stream event swells, perimeter swells, rear lot swells, pond back slopes, retaining walls, all of which would have different requirements. So the four pieces of this swale, we've got side slopes, we've got longitudinal slopes, we've got minimum depth and design year. I think the only thing that we were asking for that to me changes the intent of the rules was the design year, and that's really how much flow can go in that swale. But we spoke last Wednesday and we decided we're just going to meet the Walker County spec. We had already asked for, the design year was 10-year storm with 6 inches of freeboard. We were recommending doing the 100-year. We talked with GLS. We're just going to do both. 100 years is what I care about. That's what I sleep well at night with. So I'm just making sure they achieve both. So that one I don't think is going to be a concern. The only two swales that aren't going to do that are the swales that we're only installing for erosion control purposes. We're putting some swales behind the retaining wall just to make sure water's not going to settle and erode behind the wall. And then also the pond back slopes. The pond will still function without it. We're just trying to eliminate how much side slope real erosion happens there. But all of your primary swales are going to achieve that design year.
So Mason with GLS is online and ready to answer questions for the court or add comments. But if you'll, probably the best graphic that's attached, if you'll scroll up, there's a map it shows the different functions, there. This is probably the most helpful of the exhibits. So if you'll look, they have this perimeter ditch here, they're all color coded over here. Rear lot swales here, perimeter here, rear lot swales at the back of these lots coming through. This is what they're calling the temporary swale, the green swale over here. New sections are proposed here. Their idea is to come back in and redevelop that drainage as they develop those new sections. That's the reason they're referring to it as temporary. Retaining wall.
There's some there. It got hidden. There's
Very
other, we've
small.
got some in
Yeah.
these areas, 1, 2,
And
3,
then,
4.
I think, and I'll let Mason address this, but in general, there's not a lot of opposition to what they're proposing. Some question about whether it even requires variances because of the way our rules are written. Our rules are focused on the ditches that are adjacent and in the right of way. I'll let Mason speak to this, but I think based on our conversations with GLS, the only one that sort of comes close to meeting what we consider sort of a roadside ditch would be this temporary swale. It's not in the right of way, it's out of the right of way, but it's functioning sort of to protect that street there from cross drainage. And so the rest of them, I don't think necessarily meet the criteria, except for where they're in the right of way. So that's one of the things that we wanted to discuss today is where these, and they don't all, but where some of these do enter in the right of way, that we would attain conformance inside the right of way. Outside the right of way be a different story.
Right. And the reason why we even asked for this is we've got a comment on the plan saying your swales need to match the rules. So we just said, would it be helpful if we went and described all the types of swales and we just put it into it?
They went through all of them. This is the main one I think that was that is our focus is the green one. I'll let Mason talk to that. Mason, are you available?
Yes, he's on.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hello?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the record.
Mason Kwiatkowski, civil engineer with GLS. Just to add on to what Andy spoke about in regards to the exhibit, no, not any necessarily objections to the internal drainage that elevation is showing. The one in question that Andy spoke about, the green temporary swale, based on past discussions with elevation, we've talked about that swale not meeting the slope per the Walker County subdivision regulations at a 0.5% minimum per the code. They are proposing the green to be 0.2% longitudinal. I think Walker's team has put together a revised package that shows side slope changes from 4 to 6. Is that correct, Walker?
Correct. From 6 to 1 to 4 to 1 as per the geotech.
1 to 4 to 1, sorry. But I guess my general concern for that section, and I know it's called temporary, but we don't necessarily know how long that could be temporary. And at a 0.2% running slope, you are teetering with the point of, any siltation that builds up into that ditch is going to be an issue as far as draining. And then, what the effects of that may be, whether it's, backing up onto the road, et cetera. We just don't know what that looks like. And so we'll wait for Walker's team and their resubmittal package. I haven't seen that yet, but further internal discussion between Andy and I is going to take place, and with the elevation team on that.
So for today's court, the idea that these other ditches that are perimeter, that are interior lot, don't need to conform. Just want to make sure that the court and the review team are on the same page on that, with the exception of where they're in the right of way. So that lets them move forward and us review what they've submitted. Have you guys turned that in yet?
It's all in.
it's been submitted. We're just in the review process on that, on the revised drainage. Also going back to what was said earlier, I think the proposal is to use the alternative to the riprap where it's above 4 FPS but below 10
Right.
on all of those
Yeah.
requests.
Anything below 4 FPS, if you add it, would just be an additional cost to our part.
Right.
But that's usually anything below that, we'll do block sod and staple it just to make sure it doesn't go
And
anywhere.
anything above 10 will go back to
Energy
engineering
dissipation
design.
Mhm.
So they believe that the product is appropriate for that range of control, but not beyond it. So just as a general consensus, I think the recommendation from Mason's group is that before they give final advice to court on this, that they would like to review the plans that were resubmitted. And then under the assumption that the other ditch types don't need to conform except for in the right of way.
Okay. So what do we want to grant today? We want to grant them the ability
I'm
to
just-
use the flex mat?
I don't necessarily know you need to make a grant because I think that if we review could be reformatted and a lot of this stuff could be cut out of the variance request to make it much more simple.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for y'all, we're just trying to follow the rules.
Because whatever's in the right of way, we're going to have to make sure it conforms.
Yeah, so as a general consensus of the court is, are we okay with the ditches that are conforming, that are in the right of way? With the exception of that one roadside ditch, looking at that as a roadside ditch.
Yeah, and we need the temporary one, the green mark
Yes.
there, you know, we worry about temporary becoming permanent, right?
Sure, and if I can talk about that one for a second. So that green one, and I agree, so this green ditch, first of all, will maintain the 10 years, 6 inches and the 100-year. So if I could go 0.5%, I would have just done it and not asked for anything. So the only reason why I'm asking for 0.2% is because it's like a 6-foot difference in that depth from this starting point down to this. You start getting depth issues when you go that steep. The 0.2%, it's going to drain. In terms of work, this is also, we got clay soils out here, which is pretty good. I'm used to working in the moon dust and Splendora where things can wash away. But I mean, I fully believe that the 0.2% with a dry application, Harris County Flood Control establishment, it's going to hold up. 0.2 will work. It's going to contain both storm events. Even if 4-star were to leave, it's still going to hold up. But then you don't have a 8-foot deep swell. You got 3.5-foot deep swell here. So it's just a lot less erosion concerns at the creek tie-in.
Yeah,
specifically.
I think the position, our sort of take on it is not necessarily that is not a variance that the court shouldn't consider or even approve, but that bringing that back once we've had a chance to review the entire drainage and the redesign on that section, because that was included.
Everything.
So there's this, it would give DLS a better chance to give final comment on that particular one. At the same time, we may not need to return our variances on those other ditch type, the exception of whether in the right of way under the current plan.
We have almost nothing in the right of way.
Yeah, so you would probably be in conformance. If there's any areas where they're not, then we could bring those up as part of it.
I think this, go ahead, Brad.
I'm not hearing anything. Is that as a general rule okay to take that approach to it?
Outside of the right of way. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one in the green, it kind of popped in my head, kind of what Mr. Martinez had said a little while ago, was that when you drew a 0.2 and said, we think it'll work, and then Les said, we don't think 0.2 works. So we don't need to be the one up here.
No, I get it. I
Says
get it. That's
that-
why we want a chance to review the actual
Mhm.
currently proposed ditch cross section on that. It's
Yeah.
submitted as part of the current plan set. And then they can come back and make final comment to court. The reason it's before court is because there is a minimum slope in the standard and if they're not attaining it, that doesn't mean they don't have a good reason for not attaining it. That would be part of that discussion. But I think we can pull this variance down, distill it down to a couple of items post plan review. Make it much simpler for them to work with in the future as well. When they're trying to work around the variance.
The green swell, I mean, if that's what we end up having to do, it's fine. It's just, I don't think it's necessary. If all the other ones had to follow, then that's where we would have bigger issues. So that's why we still wanted to come today and get the general thought.
So Mason, you don't have any strong objection to conformance on the other ones except for in the right of way, is that correct?
That's correct, Andy.
And I got a motion.
Did you make a motion?
Yeah, you made a
I got a motion.
I need a second, whatever.
Moved in second. All in favor, Brandon.
Brandon made the motion.
All in favor, raise your hand.
What it was.
It was to deny, with to bring back.
Good to see you.
We'll be back, right?
Yep, see you soon.
All right, we'll go back to 31. Discuss and take action on 2025-54.
I've come up with a solution while we've been waiting.
I bet it's a good one.
It is. When these engineers, and I'm talking all engineers, when they develop a 20-year road, they maintain that road for that 20 years. And then the county can take it.
I like it.
Hey, I'm done.
Yeah, you fixed all the problems.
You put a stamp on a 20-year stamp, I want it to last 20
I
years.
feel like it's gonna be hard to find an engineer.
Most of them
I bet
left.
they'll build me a road though. Okay, that's my solution, but
I don't think.
I don't think y'all liked it, did you?
May just not get to work here. Will we be able to afford to build a road?
Took me 5 minutes to come up with it.
Solved it all.
Solved the problem.
A lot of it. So we're gonna just walk you through real quick as fast as we can. I know everybody's really excited about this. So a lot of it, if you've been through the draft that was done, is punctuation. A lot of commas, a lot of periods, a lot of small items. Go ahead, Brandon.
Before you get started, I have one, I had somebody request to me,
Okay.
and I don't know if we address it here or address it. When we do the geotech reports, right, you have to have the geotech reports in before plat submittal. Is that right?
It's part of the plat application.
It's part of the plat application. Okay. I'm gonna pick on Four Star because they're sitting here.
Yep.
Where their roads are gonna be. Some of those areas, they've got 10-foot cut, right? Geotechnical services right there is basically pointless because everything you need, you move off. And somewhere you're gonna fill, right? Okay. I was asked if we could change when we ask for those geotechnical, instead of doing it at plat submittal, do it when we do plat approval, or move it somewhere else further down the line. So that when they go in there and they say, hey, we've got to have the geotech in a location, 10-foot cut, that geotech is pointless. So they got to do it again. They do it again to get the road design and everything they need, but requiring it under plat submittal.
So it's required for final plat submittal. It's, people can submit under your guidance review process the court has set up for review prior to the final, having all their documents together. But before it come before court for plan and plat approval, that geotech has to be turned in. That's the way it is in the rules now. And if they use an early geotech to do design and the engineer has knowledge that those cuts are going to be, they would if they're design engineering. There are cases where they need to call for a revision of the geotech.
Correct, or also they just have a deeper bore in the beginning.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go, if you know you have 10-foot of cut, you might do a 15-foot bore or even a 20-foot bore. That's an option too, and that, I see that all the time.
That's what they are doing.
So typically, I mean, a lot of the times at the beginning of the development, before you've done all the grading, you don't know what's going where. You just say do deep bores everywhere, just so you're covered. And then in the ponds go really deep.
Well, but like that property right there, you've got a pretty good idea where your roads are gonna be. It's covered in timber. You haven't cleared it. So now you have to, how do you get your drilling machine out there to it?
That's why we got that variance, because they can go clear cut as much as they can through the woods. But since y'all's spacing requirements is so tight, we can't get everything until we clear it all. So we have to clear it first, which makes it hard to get done before that first submittal. So that's what we're trying to work in between, but.
So is there a way that we can clean that up?
Well, as we discussed, when we were discussing that variance, the geotech has to be done before final plan and plat approval. There is a way to submit a guidance review without it.
Okay.
And get feedback on the plans. So we can look at that.
I'm gonna have to
I don't
look
know
at
if we'll
that.
tackle that today, but we can look at it if there's some way to make that.
We're bringing it back anyways.
Yeah.
Andrew, maybe, I mean,
Make it tab for workshop.
the only thing I can think of is, talking to the geotech company that you use, the spacing requirements to me are really severe to try to get done in the trees when, doing it every 500 feet. I mean, when that exhibit we had in ours, I mean, it's everywhere. And I don't think you need nearly that much to come up with roadway specs because every 500 feet is not drastically changing soil. So maybe you do deeper bore requirements, but less far apart.
I think we need to do them every 250 foot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna argue with you there. If I can tell you. Yeah, 500 feet is a pretty good way.
Most agencies, 500 feet is pretty common.
Standard.
Alright.
But it
Punctuation,
is a
grammar.
challenge. Definitely say it's a challenge regarding clearing and that timing.
Punctuation, grammar, and addition of concrete.
So we're gonna walk.
I can kind of skip the punctuation grammar.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Unless somebody wants to talk about commas and periods.
We're not, I don't even know where to put them.
So I guess page 13, we just added a note saying that, the plans have to be filled by a professional.
13.
Section 3, 4, 6.
And it. Oh, yeah, the bottom of the page. 3.16, okay, correct, 3.16, we just clarified that the plans have to be sealed by a professional engineer. Page 14, 3.3. Added language, essentially updating it, regarding the groundwater, requirement that changed, a half ago. And the variance is required, so we just have to add that language. Next page 15, 3.39. We again, just clarify the language that instead of providing a cost estimate, now legally we can't ask for a cost estimate, so we're asking for a bid schedule. Essentially a list of quantities where we can come up with where the engineer for the county can come up with a cost for the project. And clarify what needs to be included in that cost estimate. Page 18, 3.64. A little bit of cleanup language here. There's no change in what it's saying, it's just clarifying. I'm gonna skip that one. 19, 3.71. Again, we're adding in the list of itemized improvements to meet the change that happened about a year and a half ago. 3.74. We have deleted based on some language with Andrew and county clerk. Page 19, 3.74.
Yeah, so talk to this while we're here. The entire time I've been here, including since this policy was adopted, minor plats that are 4 or less lots that don't require infrastructure. The court has 2 orders, one issued in 2000, one issued in 2019, authorizing myself or the county engineer to approve minor plats for filing. This language right here was confusing that, and rightfully so. It is confusing language because it looks like that in addition to me approving it, that it also then has to come before court for approval before Kerry can file it. Sure that everybody's on the same page. If my office, either myself or the county engineer under that order, under this order that would now mirror one another, approve it for filing, that it doesn't come back to Commissioner's Court for approval.
On a minor plat, major plats.
Minor plats.
Major plats need to have.
So replats, major plats, those will all have to come before Commissioner's Court. So of course, they would have to be approved by Commissioner's Court because that's the only, in court, because that's the only way you approve things. Where you delegated that responsibility or assigned that to a designee, myself or the county engineer, then we can execute on behalf of the court those small plats without having to come back to Commissioner's Court for a final approval prior to filing. Gary and I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page on that. So we're clarifying this language. Doesn't really offer a change in the way we've been doing things since 2000 when I got here. It is just that we want to remove this because it's very confusing. It looks like we're going to approve it, to reapprove it, which doesn't save the public any time. It doesn't move the process faster. It doesn't accomplish the goals of the commissioners report when they adopt.
Will it state anything in the regulations that the majors have to have commissioner's court approval?
The only one that's exempt from that under 3.74. Nothing else is exempt from.
Because that state statutes and on what the county clerk has to.
Right. So we'll make clear that everybody's on the same page. When are we good with this?
Will said yes.
He said you are.
Will nodded his head. I saw it.
So, just so the court's aware that this is the process we've been using that original process where we approve it, they file it throughout this being in place. It's just when this was noticed, we wanted to make sure it was cleaned up.
What happened was there was a minor plat that was filed on Mylar.
Yes.
All of us in our brains think Mylar, we have to have certain stamps. So we started having issues because it was like, wait a minute, there's no commissioner court stamp on this. I can't approve it. It was a minor plat, yes. The majority of minor plats are filed on legal paperwork in the deed record, not on the Mylar. The concerns with our office is we've already bought now 4 more plat cabinets. If these plats start coming in as minors on Mylars, we're gonna run out of space a whole lot faster than I had projected. And so Andy and I started conversations about, he has it open to where they can file on a minor or a major. Well, it's not really in statute that way, but that's what we call it. Big thing was it was on Mylar and it didn't have the commissioner court stamp on it.
So in the old regulations, minor plats were always filed on 8.5 by 14. Then there was a change made by the court to require those to be filed on full size sheets. That lasted for about a year.
We ordered pizza today.
Then the court came back and said, pick, you can do it either way. The vast majority of people pick 8.5 by 14.
We're all good with this one.
We're good with this.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right, we good.
I want to make sure that horse was thoroughly beat.
It's done. Next one.
We got
Ready.
it.
4.1.
Okay, page 20, yes, 4.1. A lot of these changes have to do with things that we've seen in review that we're trying to clarify. So plats have to have a title block. So that language has been added that the plats have to have a title block with the name of the subdivision, lot, block, reserve numbers on the plat. City maps don't have to be to scale. So 4.4 that we clarified that. 4.9, also requiring that all plats, multiple sheets have sheet numbers and the plat name, subdivision name on each sheet. That's been added.
Those were things that were very common and we assumed would be done and then we got.
Yeah.
18, page 21. So we just referenced section 5 regarding some notes we added, so I'll cover that later. 4.27, we added that the locations of easements, lots, or reserves necessary for cluster boxes have to be shown on the plat. So not the information, if you don't have a reserve, an easement, something like that required for a cluster box, you don't have to show something on the plat. We're just trying to clarify that. Page 23. 4.49. We added a note, we added some water supply notes, so I'll go over those later in appendix C. 4.5, just noted that we referenced the surveyor certification.
I have a comment about that.
Yeah, you are. I'm in a way.
Introduce yourself.
So you. He wants to sign, basically say it's all the easements that pertains to the whole tract, but I can't sign that. I talked to Eddie McAdams about it. He agrees. All I'm interested in is that you put at the end, it says as it relates to the title report. Because you're requiring the title report. We don't mind saying it's all the easements as it relates to that title report, but
okay.
I mean, there's always buried easements and stuff that you don't know about. So that's all.
Objection.
No.
We have no objection to that change.
All right, so you're gonna
So
get it.
on the survey.
Yeah, well,
It's not the water.
Yeah.
Next page, 24, 4.55. We added a note that said essentially any deed restrictions are not going to be listed on the plat. So we added a note referencing that.
Unless, of course, they relate to a variance. It was
Correct.
So I don't have it in front of me, but I understood it as we're not showing variances on the plan. Is that not what it says?
no 4.55.
Yeah.
No,
No,
variances
it's,
would be related to a plan subdivision regulation.
so specific deed restrictions that are not related to a variance. So
We
variance
had
is still
some,
needed.
Mike, you may not be aware of this, we had some strange notes being placed on the plat that had nothing to do with the planning process or anything else. I think you were the one doing that, but.
No, he wasn't.
Page 25, 5.5. Well, let me back up to 5.4. We just added that the Commissioners Court may grant an extension. Just to clarify that it's not a shall, it's a may. 5.5, added a note regarding, we discussed this last time, regarding consolidated lots on an existing subdivision. So if you consolidate a lot, it doesn't have to meet the minimum frontage requirements.
Be clear, that's only for consolidated lots, not if they're rented lots.
Right, only consolidate. And 5.6 was also added, related to if there's a, this relates to, kind of direction given from the court previously, that if it's in an existing subdivision, a variance is not required to, if you're subdivided, if you have a 50-foot right of way in an existing subdivision, as long as no additional right of way dedication is required for the commissioner, then there's no variance.
It formalizes the procedure that we would go to the commissioner, and then if the commissioner doesn't need additional right of way, then it would require.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to come back to court every time.
Right.
It's going to replay.
We have to do.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Page 30. Page private development. And so I think when we were here 4 weeks ago, Commissioner Doggett, we added a section. So it previously said if you needed a direct variance, we added a section references related to that variance.
Yeah, your comment was, it's direct variance to what? So we.
Put it in there. Right.
And now get into the engineering section of page 39. First item is that we want plans to be legible without magnification. So just because you can zoom in on a PDF doesn't mean that a printed version is legible. We clarified that. B 1.2. We added that the engineers are responsible for also the calculations, and everything shall be done in accordance with the state board regulations for engineers and surveyors. And noted that everything needs to be sealed, dated, and signed by the responsible professional engineer. Item F, we added, a timeline related to inspection. So we noted 72-hour notification is required as a plan note. That way the contractor's aware of it on the plans. It has been previously in our examination form that we'll talk about next, but we added it to the regulations. B 1.5, we noted that drainage area maps also have need to hit the minimum scale of 1 to 200 with only drainage area map that we can increase. Page 41, B 1.16. This is related to plan revisions, and that the plan revisions need to be clearly dated with that revision date, and the changes need to be clouded. So that if somebody comes back with as-built plans, they need to clearly show what's changed in those as-built plans. B 2.1, we added knuckle. So I think knuckle was applied with respect to the minimum frontage, but we clarified that it applies to full fronts and knuckles. We updated, so throughout, we updated to 2024 standards. Did that previously. We also added again a reference to section 5, which is regarding replats and mini plats. So just to note that there's specific, that there's exceptions there that don't relate to plats. Page 46. So we increased, increase your design standards. Previously, the posted speed limit was equal to the design standard. Typically, you design for a speed limit that's greater than your posted limit. So we have it increase, everything increased by 5 miles per hour, I think.
Why do we do that? Just out of curiosity.
So typically your posted speed is set at the 85 percentile of the speed that's driven on the roadway, but you might want to design for something. Might want to design for something that is greater than that because you will have vehicles traveling at a greater speed.
That's
Yeah.
So that is designed for the higher speed so that your safety considerations are for a slightly higher speed than what is posted.
So any new subdivision will have to be posted at a higher.
We're not saying
mile
post
per hour.
them.
We don't have to post them higher, we just
Design
design
them.
Design them at the speed. Post them at the original.
Okay.
so we're safer when they're running 60 instead of 30, right?
Right.
Yeah. You're not.
They're running 60.
They are.
Yeah.
I know they are. I see them all the time.
I agree with you as long as we don't have to adjust our speed limits up.
Yeah, I think
Well, if you did, it would only be on a new.
70.
Actually, so there's a later in the code where I accidentally updated something to increase the speed limit that was unintentional. So I'll cover that in a minute. We're actually proposing that we remove that change from the regs. Only changing the design speed, not the actual.
To your point, Brandon.
Yes.
We're pushing the speed limit back down to the original was, some of the design limit higher.
That's pretty standard.
I think these are clarifications. So next change is page 47. We added details regarding cul-de-sacs and knuckles. Pretty typical radius of what you would see, but we see a lot of varying radius, so we just want to give a standard that way. It's something that everyone's doing it the same. And so this would apply both to concrete and asphalt standards. So 25-foot radius on the pavement around where your straightaway is connected to your cul-de-sac, you'll have a 25-foot radius. Page 48. Updated to 2020 text dot 2024 on item Q, and also clarified that local roads shall have a 300-foot center line radius. But local roads or collector roads or arterial roads, local roads that don't meet that 300-foot center line radius, or arterial roads, collector roads, they need to be designed in accordance with the text dot roadway design manual. So it gives an option to not have to bring variances back to court every time. Page 51, again, we updated text dot 2024. We have a note that the testing laboratory is in compliance with the subdivision regulations in there. And we also added a note, which we'll talk about next, is that the construction oversight shall comply with the current approved construction examination guidelines. That's that 2-page. That's just added 2024 there. The next one to 2024. Regarding asphalt pavement, we noted often we're seeing people just shy 2 inches on asphalt, and so we're just trying to clarify that the requirement is an absolute minimum of 2 inches of asphalt. 1.9 is not the expectation. Page 55, this is, I referenced this earlier, that we're recommending you increase your strength of your concrete from 35 PSI to 4,000 PSI, 3,500 PSI to 4,000 PSI. More and more entities are going to that 4,000, and most of the pavements middles that we see, they are at 4,000, are capable of doing 4,000. We've also adjusted the rebar spacing to align with the pavement thickness.
So
No,
you increased it from 30, hold up, go back down.
So
You increased it from 30 inches to 36 inches. Is that the way I read that? And then 18 to 24?
yes,
We
but
made the spacings bigger.
we made the spacings bigger, but the bar size, we increased from a number 4 bar to a number 5 bar.
and up to pounds per square.
Okay, that's where I missed it. We increased the size of the rebar.
Increase the size of the rebar, yes. For your larger pavement.
On B, but you
For-
didn't increase the size on A.
Right, on A, we did not. So 32 foot and narrower, that remained the same, except for the 4,000 PSI. It's your pavement's larger than, so it's your collector roads and your arterial roads.
You also didn't decrease.
Sorry, I missed that rebar part of that.
You also did not increase the spacing. Just the only thing you changed on A was.
That's it.
Correct. A remains the same. Page 59.
So.
Can't play.
Okay, yes, thank you. So 57, this was actually inadvertently changed, the 11.3. I'd like to leave this at 30. So this is posted speed limit, and I'd like to leave this at 30 and 35. So
Strike that.
strike this change.
Which is what we're talking about.
Yes. Page 58. We noted that, so generally drainage needs to be taken directly to an inlet. That's not true with extreme events. So extreme event, so our requirements are that your inlets have to take the 5-year storm, greater than the 5-year storm, or your storm sewer has to be sized by gravity for the 5-year storm. There is a point when you will have ponding in a roadway and your roadway will become a conveyance. So we're just clarifying that in an extreme event, the roadways can become a conveyance. But your standard 5-year drainage design can flow by gravity within the storm sewer.
Look up here.
On the way. Sorry. Let's see. We clarified that detention basins are maintained not by the county, and so they're either by a private entity, the owner, it could be a mud. The mud can be the owner, but just additional language stating that the county is not maintaining detention basin, maintaining detention basins. B 12.8. We just reworded this to clarify that the ponds are designed and constructed, and then they were later maintained by the property owner, the designated property owner. I think you could have read that those 2 different ways. 59. Just noting that you have to have a dedicated right of way or dedicated easements for your extreme event. And then we clarified how to design your pilot channel. So this is kind of a minimum standard of you at least have to have 0.2% with your concrete pilot channel in your detention basin, or 0.5% for your grass pilot channel. Just to help. Detention ponds typically are not maintained well if they don't drain well. And it kind of it's a compounding issue. So this helps give the detention basins a little more chance to be maintained. Page 60. We added language regarding TxDOT roadway design manual, just to clarify how to design guardrails, and that also item J is related to getting an NBI number and making sure that we can turn this over to TxDOT to do the 2-year inspections on the bridges.
We define NBI numbers. Well, I know that, but we should say it.
Now, instead of just putting it.
Say it the first time and then.
Yeah,
abbreviate.
you're right.
Page 61. So just noting that, clarifying that roadside ditches can have breaks in them and berms in them, so you don't have to have a continuous 18-inch deep ditch. You can have a high point in your ditch that's less than 18 inches. Or if you're tying into existing, where we ran into this in Hawthorne, where if you're tying into an existing roadway that doesn't have a 12-inch deep ditch, that you don't have to have a 12-inch
can transition.
deep ditch at the same time. You can
Right,
transition.
and,
through that.
and the way I read that, at the top of the hill,
Right.
where there's no need for a ditch, we don't need an 18-inch ditch.
Or somebody having to come to ask for variance,
Right,
which is where we're at now.
We don't want variances for that.
okay.
Item I, again, just referencing text bridge standards. G on that same page, bottom, yes, just again, referencing text standards. The next page to continue updating to align with, TxDOT current standards. TxDOT does now have a standard. They used to have a special specification for, like plastic pipe. Now they actually have an adopted standard with the 2024 regulations. And so those we just updated to align with those. Page 63, just clarifying that, there should be no ponding in the street in the 5-year storm. Previously it says curb, so we don't even want it. We don't want it above the gutter line. We want it all right for the 5-year storm. Page 64, just added in the certification form that's required. It's currently a requirement, that we're just clarifying it in the regulations. The certification form has to come back from the engineer upon completion. So next item is county clerk certification. And that's on page 67.
Yeah, the reason that we have two now is going back to the ones that are going to be filed in the 8.5 by 11 format. Those are because they're being filed in deed records. The certification included the record set, so we needed one for each record set. So the top one, it goes to the flat record, the bottom one goes. So we could technically, right now, the way your policy is written, you could have a large format plat. It's really rare that we have these submitted since the court allowed it, but you could have a large format plat that is being filed in the plat record that is the minor plat. So that's why we just differentiated by format size.
Okay.
But the only 8.5 by 14s will be minor. No majors were filed.
Right.
Page 70. Adding of the drainage easements shall be cut clear of fences, buildings, plantings, and other obstructions. Oh, and then on page for C12, we added the 2 water supply notes, whether it's an individual well or from like a public water supply. So either option there to note that on the plat. And then we added the certification of the surveyor, which we will make the modification.
On the individual water well note, should you have something there that says that's based on whatever study you're coming up with that number from?
A reference
or not?
Reference the groundwater.
Rather than just say, hey, you need to have a 400 foot.
So should we reference the Blue Bonnet waters?
That's what I'm saying. You should reference whatever study is.
Well, yeah, so hopefully the legislature's helping to solve this issue right now, but right now we run the gamut. We've had everything from an owner come in and say credible evidence is the fact that I have a well that works and I'm adding only one well, to a sanitarian who did a report for us on the depth based on what wells were drilled around the area, to geoscientist reports that run through Blue Bonnet's sort of short form method. So it's been all over the place. Usually as part of anything where the court is allowing credible evidence, there's a depth that's proposed. That depth was out there for whoever buys that subdivision to see it, right?
Yeah, and we put that on we made that a requirement somewhere to put that on the plat, right?
We generally, each time a variance, each time you guys allow for credible evidence, requirement that be put on. So this just sort of formalizes the note.
So we can add, after the word lot, we can add per the groundwater study by blank, dated blank.
Well, unless you don't have a groundwater.
And then they're gonna stop at the first available water wherever it's at anyway, so.
Let's move on. It's only one in Walker County, or is there
Yes,
another?
move on. That's all.
Third district.
That's, covers the whole county.
I guess it does, cause
Yeah.
they.
You could do it by-
Yeah,
By how?
it covers 3 or 4 or 5 counties.
Yes.
I didn't know.
It's us, Grimes, Montgomery.
That's how
Yeah,
it's-
I'm gonna
I think the wording on that one, on that C12, I think I would always rather reference some sort of either a state reg, with the water well will be served by on-site water recommended water well plan shall be in compliance with state regulations or whatever, something referencing, because the state references us, but they also reference TCEQ to come up with develop what is a credible evidence of water. So there's waivers too, and there's all kinds of stuff. So that one needs to be a little more generic.
Okay, so how about this, just for today's purposes, because I don't want to roadblock us on this. Let's just put this certification to the side for today.
Yeah.
Bring it back on
And
next
then
one.
we'll come back and readdress it,
Let's
because it
do
looks
that.
like we're gonna be coming back anyway.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if somebody's proposing credible evidence, the courts can just make it part of their order, accepting credible evidence, that there's a note. Yeah, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, something pops in.
Yeah, we're coming back unless they grade to go all concrete today. I'm looking on the other side over there. We can make it easy for y'all.
We're almost done.
We'll just end that individual water well note, and each lot will be served by a private water well, period.
I didn't get a no.
I didn't say no.
I'm getting older here.
Might be worth a motion, huh?
Might be.
Racket.
Gibberish.
Andy hurts.
I couldn't hear you that.
Don't go in too hard.
There.
See it.
See it over here, that part.
75, page 75. So we have a standard in here certification form, and we added the developer
Lunch in there.
certification form that's a
Yeah,
form that's always been required by the
Yeah, we
county,
do.
but
Well, the
just
city.
to clarify, it's part of this
Oh, here?
package.
What am I doing here?
HR planning.
76, we've added a template for the applicants. Right now, the applicants, we see all different versions of applicants, so we just added language that they can use.
Oh,
And then now we're into the details.
works for me.
So page 3 is the first new detail where we've added a concrete pavement section. So yes, in the middle, we added a concrete pavement section
What
for open
page?
ditch standard.
83.
Page 83.
We can do away with the other pages then.
Look,
Getting their attention now.
well, even, and this is what we're gonna come back and talk about. We need to add this in here to have a standard to go by. If we,
Right now, somebody would have to ask for a variance.
to even build it, right?
If you guys don't want to keep it that way, then today's proposal is not, as it's drafted, is not to replace one standard with another, but to add a standard for concrete living.
That's the first step. We can replace next week,
Next week's good.
2 weeks.
The other change that we made to these details is that on the detail, there's
I'm good with
that it shall be designed by a geotechnical engineer to determine what is sufficient for the street cross section. So these are the minimum standards. These are not the standard.
That's why I think it kind of goes back to conversation. We need to figure out something. Say we do I know we have to have minimums. But then somebody comes in and brings it at minimum and it lasts 368 days. And it's then they're gone. And they're like, we have no
It's
recourse.
got that stamp on it,
We have no recourse. back.
because you heard Don say it earlier.
Yes, that's the problem that I know we have to have these, but it goes to exactly what you said over yonder. You know, why tell the guy 20 years if he has no touch on it?
No,
18 months after it's over with, he's like, gotta go. It's on you. See ya. It's either a 20-year road or it's a 25.
or it's a 18-month road, what the
That's what I'm
warranty is or
Right,
whatever.
yeah. That's an interesting conversation. Don't know how we do
Goes
that.
back to your engineers and your architects. That's in anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That goes back to you gotta.
but I gotta call the insurance guy on them though, because that's what Don told me to do. He'll be picking on me next court.
We're listening, Stephanie.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, page 84.
Sorry, Stephanie.
The only change in this detail, we added the notes at the top on this detail, again, referencing the geotag, the head walls for text dot, and just in general, your cost slope needs to be between 1% and 3%. That way we're not having to see variances if you're not right at that 2% kind of typical.
So the issue you guys were discussing earlier about the design and holding up. Again, we have we require a 1 year maintenance bond of 10%. Originally, if you'll remember way back when the current policy in its original form was adopted, move that from 1 to 2, but then the court decided to move it back to 1. That's always in play. If you guys want to elongate that, let's watch it. That would be.
It's amazing how things come back around.
The 1 year in policy, y'all can always extend that if you guys wanted to.
Those trucks coming in there makes it 10 years.
Not suggesting a number, I'm just saying that.
I'm jumping up. I want that engineer stamp to hold true for 20 years. Put it on you guys. I'll build me 20-year roads. I knew you could do it.
Are we on 86, Stephanie?
Page 86, yes, sir.
The developers might not like it, but
Added an open ditch option with concrete, a roadway, and then the notes at the top were added. Also, same notes previously mentioned. Page 86, same thing. And page 87. Again, same thing. Added the road open ditch. Added the notes that are at the top.
it will need that one too, Rich.
And then page 88, added, again, another, open ditch concrete section for low volume roads.
No,
There's also another option we to discuss is giving a low volume curb and gutter option, for rural roadways. But we have one right now that, that is curb and gutter on a rural section, so we could add that at a later date, just to kind of.
This is not for y'all, this is the court, but the people we got moving in, they don't need open ditch. They need curb and gutter and underground drainage, so it can be pretty for them. That's the type of people we got moving to Walker County. You know, there's city folks moving to the country, but they don't want to be in the country. No comment from nobody or what?
I agree.
I got tired of people not waving at me on the county road.
Hey, they don't wave at me anyway, so I really don't care what they think.
Page 91 is the next updated detail. And just this applies to all the details. They're dated April 2025. I would update them to page 2025.
There's your curbs.
I want to point this out. You guys have probably all.
They even need sadly, they need.
Our asphalt standard is got a pavement width plus the base shoulder. The concrete standard that's being proposed, the concrete width is based on the asphalt width, not the extent of the shoulder. By seeing that, I just wanted to.
Straight down.
There's no.
So
speculation.
this detail, I think the only other is the 1,000 PSI +3 got updated based on the.
What about that, friend? It's concrete to ditch lines too. Roads always ditch.
Well, you ain't got to mow.
You don't have to mow.
You gotta catch that water somewhere.
Brandon.
Be able to infiltrate it
Brandon.
around.
Yeah, we're gonna send it somewhere fast.
I got a bunch of people outside.
City's doing it to us.
And tacos.
Page 93. Next,
Green.
page, so this one's been updated to reflect what the design noted of the PSI concrete, the change in,
The map.
to match the rebar and everything like that.
Just wondering why they were over here.
Storm sewer, so page 6, only update there. Because all the details are updating the date, I want to update the date on that one. So again, they'll all be dated May 2024, or 2025, excuse me, if adopted today. Next change, page 100. So this is your HDPE, and this applies to your polypropylene pipe, which is one. The fees are updated per manufacturer's recommendations. So that they've had updated details since we previously originally issued the June 2022 regulations. And there is a note here because of even TechStop recommends or requires the engineer to actually design the subgrade for HDPE. So that's like called out on this detail. And page 102, we've added a detail it's on manufacturer's recommendation for parallel pipes. So we've seen a lot of parallel pipes, especially like polypropylene and HDPE. So this again is in
So you
matches.
clarified the distances in between them?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So it's actually in the code that's easy to reference instead of looking up
The
the
standards.
manufacturer's recommendation.
Okay.
So that wraps up the changes.
That's it.
Tried to go a little quicker, but
So with a couple of notations.
Yeah, you got a couple of things in there.
I move to approve item 31 as presented with those
With
couple of
concrete.
notations, excluding Lonnie's 9 cents over.
Yeah. How bad nonsense is a couple weeks.
I got a motion on it. I got a second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Reluctant.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Stephanie.
32, discuss and take action on approval of construction examination guidelines.
We just want this to be before court, referenced in the policy. This is examination guidelines, this is our attempt. Here responsible. The county obviously sent out. Make sure that everything's going. Sort of a schedule that we hand out that we go over with them at the pre-construction meeting. See this, make sure that the way they.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all's work.
Yeah, thank you.
I saw you there for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, this is action item.
Yeah, this is our final.
Yep.
So do you need approval for that form?
Yes.
I thought we had that form in place.
We do have the, like, under the policy. What is, looked at before, but. Looked at it. Wrong with it.
My motion is to approve number 32.
I'll say.
Move second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. All right, no more executive session. Public comment,
Put up-
Mr. Casey left. Mr. Casey outside? All right.
You got somebody coming?
We know about this. About it.
Yeah.
You know about this HR training coming up next?
HR training.
Yeah.
Do I look like that?
We got a lunch and learn today. Y'all ain't gonna have tacos with us?
Hell no.
I'm not very HR coordinated.
We just had executive session on HR.
Exactly. I'm like HR at work nightmare.
You need this?
Yeah, let me.
Wait on
All right, Mr. Casey, thanks for waiting.
I've prepared a statement, so stay on task. I'm here to apologize to Commissioners Court for not completing the Raven project that I started. It's a project from my heart and my funds. I fell behind due to a stroke and a brain bleed on January 2025. I was taken to Huntsville Memorial Hospital and then life flighted to Clear Lake Regional for 3.5 weeks. As you can see, I'm still struggling with physical tasks such as walking without help. Prior to that, my life partner of 19 years had major spinal surgery, and I cared for her a little over 4 weeks in December. Bled over. She was restricted from driving and was not allowed to get out of bed. My knowledge, I have never received a call from Walker County Commissioner Court that they were upset with me. To resolve this matter, I want to pick up my artwork and I will use it elsewhere. I am totally opposed to someone else trying to finish the project and have my name associated with it. Respectfully, Jack Casey, also known as Cactus Jack.
Thank you, sir.
Good day.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Questions from media? Commissioners Court.
Trash Bash was a success for us this year. We had people from all over the county. We ended up with 366 people bringing stuff in, 21 dumpsters, as full as we can get them, one van, 18-wheeler van full of tires. Appreciate that from adult probation and that group, and where they are, ISP, and some others that I will mention later.
Yeah.
No.
We do have a HR training after this. Have a nice